Restaurant Unstoppable. Inspire, empower, and transform the industry. So thinking back to Danny Meyer, and I know that you point to a lot of lessons he taught you, like next level type lessons that I thought were just great. What were maybe one or two of those big lessons that you share them in the book, but resurface those now for us? The type of mindset he got you into. Sure. Bringing on this partner, what was the benefit of that?
Well, I don't want to state the obvious. So, like, having a master restaurateur at the table is validation on the one hand that he got our concept, so much so that he wished he'd created it, was an amazing feeling. So we felt at the table got by him.
Yeah.
But also, here's a guy who was way further along in his trajectory than we were at the time. And so we had so much to learn from him. And anytime Danny talks, there's a story and there's a lesson. And they're all really, really good ones. And so a couple of the ones that come to my mind, one is shortly after the deal concluded, we were having a chef summit where we invited all of our executive chefs to come from throughout California down to LA for 2 days of learning and sharing and fun. And he happened to be in town for a board meeting, and he agreed to come and talk to the team. And wow, awesome, right? So he comes in and he's telling some stories about growing up in St. Louis and hospitality and just loving it. And then he says, I want you guys to consider this. Imagine if your guests were coming to your restaurants for the service. That's what they were paying for, and the food was free. Imagine how that would change your perspective of what's important on the other side of the counter. If they were paying for the service and the food was free, what would it be like? And I think everybody had the little hairs stand up on the back of their neck.
Paradigm shift. Yeah,
paradigm shift. And so, as was often the case in spending time with Danny, oh, wow, that's cool. That's something that I can latch on, and not only can I latch onto it for myself, but I can go back and share this with my team.
Yeah. What were some of the uncomfortable lessons he taught you? He pushed you out of your comfort zone. He helped you see the world differently from your own personal perspective when it comes to becoming an evolving restaurateur.
Bark is probably the one.
What do you mean? Dogs bark? What are you talking about?
The bark on a tree.
Okay.
That, we love the people that work at Tender Greens.
And that was a big part of your success, and something that you guys held really close and dear to your heart, something you did not want to let go from, is the loyalty to your people.
That's right. And yet, objectively speaking, if we were putting the business first, there were people who may have stayed too long, that had stopped learning and growing, that weren't up for the, what got you here isn't going to get you there.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And so Danny's analogy was that a tree, in order to grow, needs to shed bark. The bark needs to fall away so that the tree trunk can expand. And then by doing that, the tree grows and it grows new bark.
And it creates more opportunities, and maybe that bark that you shed can go be an opportunity for somebody else to help them get to where you were at that point.
That's right.
How hard was it for you to swallow that pill?
I think there's the times where you know that in your heart that this is somebody you need to say goodbye to, and then there's the ones where you're a little blind, either because of your loyalty, or because you're just not seeing things clearly. And those ones are harder, Danny talks about the difference between a hard decision and a difficult decision.
Yes. What's a difficult decision?
It's one where you have all the data, and you just have to make that decision. you have everything that you need in order to make the decision, but it's gut wrenching on some level, or like that.
Yeah. What's a hard decision?
Hard decision is where it's actually not that clear.
Okay.
It's not clear, and you have to do more research, and you have to get more counsel, and then, so one is challenging on the level of the amount of work that you have to do it, and one is the emotional feeling of, wow, if I make this decision, there's a consequence to this that's painful for me and for the person, entity, whatever that's on the other side of that decision. There are consequences.
Yeah. I mean, there's some just incredible lessons just from that section, reflecting on how he helped you grow. How else were some of the other, like moving to this place where it's almost like I said earlier, you're further removing yourself from the process, yourself from the process, putting those layers. Eventually, you and your partners left Tender Green, correct?
Yeah. So we spent some time in the latter years professionalizing the company. Obviously, we needed marketing help. We needed support in many different places, real estate, and so we hired experienced professionals. And in some of those situations, we overcorrected. We'd hired somebody that was in real estate with a massive pedigree and a lot of experience, but not a lot of fire in the belly. Or we hired somebody who wasn't the right cultural fit, just because they had a ton of experience doing something that we felt we could grow from. Whatever. That growing made us have to reevaluate the contributions that we were going to make to the company. Because once you professionalize and you hire a marketing person, and you were sort of the jack of all trades for marketing, but now there's a marketing person, you have to
give them that space to do their job.
Right.
Yeah.
So then what do you do? Yeah. So in each of the examples of professionalizing the company, up to me replacing myself as the head of the company and hiring a new president, and feeling very magnanimous about it at first, saying, hey, here's this woman who we've sought after, hired, believe wholeheartedly in, coming to run our company. I even said, hey, take my office. I'm going to be out in the field. I'm going to do culture. And so she's running the company and having meetings with my team in her office with the door closed, with a glass door.
Invited.
I'm not invited at all.
Yeah.
So that starts to be a hard place to be.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this: she gave me a gift where I outed myself because I felt like I was like lurking, like checking out what was going on there and starting to feel a little resentful or lonely or whatever that was. I think it was the start of my grieving process. But she said, I could never have done what you did. I could never have built this company to the place where it needed somebody like me to come in and take over. Mm. And that was huge because it kind of set me free a little bit.
Yeah.
So I ran culture for a while at a time in the company where it needed it, but it wasn't enough of a priority because we were so into systematizing and professionalizing, and we were tight on cash. And so like the priorities of the company were such that a heavy investment in culture in a pretty healthy culture wasn't enough of a job for me. So my job ended up being kind of HRE, which is not either my area of expertise or my area of passion.
Yeah, and I don't get to talk to people about this level of this stage of the restaurateur life cycle, where you've done such a good job achieving your goals that the business doesn't need you anymore, and you almost have this sense of like you call it like a restaurateur empty nest, where the baby doesn't need you. They've moved on. And it was almost, you guys went through depression and you struggled with this. It wasn't an easy transition for you. Like, what was that? Like, your identity was so closely tied to Tender Green. And then when Tender Green says, screw off, mom and dad, I'm out of here, I don't need you anymore. How do you cope with that?
Yeah, thanks for asking the question. So each of us in our time found our place of like, okay, now's if I'm putting the company first, now's the time for me to bow out, exit stage, whatever. And so we did. I don't want to speak for Matt. I don't want to speak for Eric. For me, it was around I'm no longer enjoying my work. There are people that can do what I'm doing. And most importantly, and this came out of an ayahuasca ceremony.
Plant medicine, as you'd say.
Mm-hmm, the heartbeat of the company has been redirected from my heart to the people in the company who have been there for a long period of time and who have co-opted, adopted, embraced, and who fully give the heartbeat.
You've recreated yourself in others.
Yeah.
Like literally how you would create a child. They're a piece of you.
Yeah, when you look at a kid and say, wow, I can see a little bit of myself in them. I could see so much that I realized, okay, even after I go, it will remain true. It's not going to die because I'm not there to keep it alive, because I'm not keeping it alive anymore. And so that is both humbling and gratifying, and also a little bit terrifying and a little bit sad.